for the win. Georgia, Georgia. These are icky ones that I'm going to put over here. Dude, hey, I still had some slices in there. Nice. Do I have some other slices in? Oh, look at these. We got some extra slices. All the time. So don't go out. No. There's another one that's out there, like, oh my gosh, her recipes are terrifying to me. It's called canning grandma or something like that. Just adding a little bit of more water to that to bring that up over the top a little bit, and I'll hang on to that just to keep that going. There we go. You will see things like, this is how to can butter. Cannot can butter. Put it in the freezer, it'll last forever. In the freezer. When butter goes on sale, that's what I do. I go buy it and put it in my freezer. Yeah, I don't mind wearing my mask. I mean, it's amazing how quick you get conditioned to certain things, which I know some people aren't happy about, and that's okay, you know. I will say, everybody is entitled to an opinion, and if you don't like their opinion, that's okay, but it's their opinion. So I'm not going to tell them that they're wrong. One, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. I mean, unless somebody tells me, no, that would kill somebody if you did that. Like raw packing potatoes and canning them in a water bath canner. In Ohio, I think it was in 2012, potluck picnic at a church. Several people got infected with botulism because the potatoes were not processed correctly. That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. How are we doing on time on that? 6 minutes left on the nectarines pie filling. When the timer goes off, we'll take the lid off. They'll sit there for 5 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to get these loaded into the other canner. As soon as I get these 3 jars filled, hopefully I have enough. I didn't think about that. Hopefully I have enough sauce. You know what? Let's just err on the side of caution. Let's err on the side of caution. Let's add another, because I'll use it. So let's add another 1.5 cups of sugar and 5 3/4 cups of water. I'm going to get my water. Well, I can go into that sink there because I'm saving that water when it comes out. Let's make another batch of light syrup, and let's just get it in there and get it done. I would rather have more than I need because I can always save it than not have enough, right? All right. And then we need 5 and, ooh, hey, water on the floor. For those, I recommend this highly for streamers, by the way. Keep a dish towel on the ground. This is not for drying your hands off, but when you're dripping water on the ground, you can quickly wipe it up with just take your foot and wipe along. All right, we need another 5 3/4 cups, and we'll go with 6 cups because I added a little extra water. Better to have it and not need it. There we go. Because the last thing I want to do is slip on the floor while I'm dealing with hot sugar water. Baby, you can drive my car. You are still going absolutely crazy. The reason why, so you'll find this when you're canning, is that as it's boiling, it's like, man, the boiling's getting harder and harder. You keep turning it down, you keep turning it down, you keep turning it down. That's because the contents of your jars are heating up. Okay, that's going to be on high for a second. I'm only doing this to get this hot. Melt the sugar so we don't have raw sugar crystals in here. And I don't think, let's double check, because I have a feeling I'm missing something here. By the way, you don't have to remove the pits. Why would you keep the pits in there? Duna said, I can drive her car. I don't have a license. You can drive my car. On table 1. You know what I think I'm going to do? I want to do a couple more of these this way. And the reason why I'm going to do a couple more, darn it, doing the halves, is because if I want to use these in, and I want to cube them up for like a different recipe, I have that option. And it's faster. Oh, that's too tall. Oh, I probably just need one more. I'll tell you, there is not a better feeling than when summer comes to an end. You've picked the last stuff out of your garden, it's been processed, and you open up your pantry because you need to go get something for, I need a half of a small one. This is a good one. And you see your canned green beans and all your tomatoes and your tuna. Like I said, I can meatballs. I can potatoes. So when I want a fast dish. Oh, come on. Oh, I've recently tried some friends' homemade pickles. They are so good. Can you can? Yes, you can. You can can potatoes, but they have to be done a certain way. They have to be done in a pressure canner, number one, because they're a very low acid food. And you have to cook your potatoes first. So you need to boil them. They have to be par cooked first. So you're going to boil them, bring them up to a full boil, put the hot potatoes in the jar. I believe it's a 1 full inch head space on those. And then you process them, and I think it's 40 minutes. I'd have to get my books out to make sure. Times do change. Times they are changing. I'm going to move this out of the way because we don't need this right now. I'm not going to throw that away. So if I can't process the rest of these, I will put that ascorbic water solution into like a big mason jar and put it in the fridge, and then I can use it tomorrow or tonight if I want to do it tonight. Oh, hang on. Yeah, homemade pickles are the best. Were they fermented pickles, Thunder, or were they quick pickles? Meaning they put all the cucumbers in the jar, they pour the hot brine over it, and they process it in a water bath, or they leave it in the refrigerator for like 2 weeks or something like that. Lots of different type of pickles. I always like to know what kind of pickles people are out there noshing on. Are these canning produce all for you, or do you give them away to family and friends? That's a good question. So when I do my jams and jellies, I make a lot of jams and a lot of jam, blackberry jam in particular, because I pick about 60 to 75 pounds of blackberries a year. I'm not going to get that much this year. The drought is already affecting the vine, something fierce. But I do the jams and jellies. I always share with my friends and family. Yeah, we'll put that one in there like that. Okay, this one will be for me. That's awesome. You don't have to, but I recommend it. One, you're going to get a lot more fruit in your jar without having that pit in there. The pits will be bitter, but it won't really bitter up your fruit. But if you give that jar to somebody, okay. All right, so this is done. We're turning this one off. Hold that thought. This is where my kitchen gets really hot. Now that lid has to stay off, so this is going to go for 5 minutes. And we're going to take those out. This is coming at the temperature. We'll ladle this in the jars. Hey. Let's keep that one going. So let me make sure I didn't. Betty, you can drive my car. I know, the rag on the floor thing, whenever I start and particularly at Thanksgiving time. So Thanksgiving, I will have the webcams up, and I will start my stream in the morning. It'll be probably an all-day stream. I will not have the microphone turned on. It'll just be music in the background, and you'll see me and my daughter in here prepping food and just having fun. And the microphone will be ready, so if it's on there or whatnot. But you'll see us actually walking around. But Some of the produce stuff I'm selfish with, particularly the tuna. So the tuna is a very high-end, costly item, and I can about 60 pounds of tuna a year, which is about 50 jars of tuna. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but we eat. I mean, it seems like a lot to a lot of people, but we eat, I mean, tuna salads, tuna sandwiches, tuna casseroles, you know, we eat it a lot. And I share a few jars with my daughter. I give her about 6 jars that I take down to her, and I also give some to one of Derek's friends. My mom and dad, I mean, they'll eat tuna, but my mom is a tuna rinser. She opens up a can of tuna, you know, like a commercial thing tuna, and rinses the heck out of it because she really doesn't like the taste of fish. So my mom knows, I've asked, do you want some of my tuna? And probably not. Oh, I guess I should get some towels. I can't put those there because the reason why I'm not putting my jars here is I have my fan on. You don't want to have air circulating around your jars. You want it to just be, they just need to sit out on their own. So, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Do, a deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself. Far, a long, long way to run. If you guys have not seen The Sound of Music, watch that movie. It is really it's a good movie, guys. I saw the live version. They did the whole live version on TV. I wish I could have seen it like an actual person because that would have been amazing. All right, we're gonna leave you there so I can pick you up. I didn't use the nutmeg, so you can go back in there. I'm making some room over here. I'm gonna put down, this is granite over here on this side. This is a granite countertop. But what I am going to do is I'm going to be putting down a couple of dish towels between the granite and the jar. It's not going to hurt the granite to have the hot jars placed onto the granite, but the granite is significantly cooler than the jars that are coming out of the water bath, and it can crack the jars. Seems like you want more room for the fruit. Hold that thought, Suki. I forgot what we were talking about. Removing the pit from the jars. You don't have to, but you should because they're just not attractive. You give that jar, you give this to somebody, and they open it up, they're like, oh my gosh, they left the pit in there. Just take the pits out. Yes, Smithers, exactly. It does take, no, wait a minute, is it Smithers or Smethers? I'll make sure I'm calling you the right. I'm going to do my dish towels. They're folded in half. I do have a fan that's on there, but my countertop that's here, this little flat countertop, which is the same height as this, there's another section that it's like a bar that people can sit on. So that fan is going to actually be blowing directly on there. Do the canned foods go off or does the canning? So yes, what's going to happen is when I take these out, it can take anywhere from 24 hours for the lids to seal. I have some iffiness on some things on that, but I'm not going to put that on you guys. So if after 24 hours the lids have not sealed, and you'll know when you tap on them, it's a very solid sound. If they didn't seal, it's a hollow sound. I have 37 seconds to walk around the counter here and come back. And it doesn't have to be like 30 seconds, but I want to give you guys an example. I have a watch can over here. Okay, so this is the corncob jelly I made. Jellies, 99.9% of the time, will ping, that's the sound that we call it, in the first 30 seconds of those jars coming out of the water bath canner. So this is the corncob jelly I made. This one's still pretty loose. This one's getting there. They can take up to 2 weeks to set, but hear how solid that is? This one, hear that hollowness? Do you hear how the sounds, can you guys tell the difference in the sound of? Can you guys tell the difference in the sound? So I have a W on this one. This one's sealed 12 hours after I put it out. I don't think it's properly sealed. I think this is a failed seal, and I'm watching this jar because I want to see if mold starts growing in it. And so I have a big W. Any of my jars that have a W on it, they go to nobody. It's a science experiment that I am performing, and I actually put them into a separate place. All right, these are ready to come out. This is why I use these gloves when I'm taking things out. Oh, question points. Oh, did somebody redeem a question point? Oh my gosh. Oh, Mary Poppins is another movie I absolutely love. Do cancel? Okay, so we got that question. Yeah, so who did the... I'm trying to hold that thought off, but it escaped. So yeah, why doesn't it say who redeemed the Ask Me Anything? I have a pleasant voice. Oh, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. Okay, so let's get this out of here. All right. Oh, shoot. Come on. All right. Grabbing you. We're always moving in very slow motions. We don't do anything crazy or fast. Not when you're around a giant canner full of water, boiling water at that. Making sure I have a firm grip on that. I'll show you the floating here. As soon as I put these over here for a second, I'm going to get another pair of gloves to pick those up with. Isn't that cool? Now, if these jars do not seal, I can reprocess in 24 hours. Or I can put them into a baggie and freeze them. The fact of the matter is, I don't care how long you've been canning, you're going to get failures. You do not push on the lids. The lids will have water on top of them. Don't tip your jar over to get the water off the top. The water will evaporate. I just take a paper towel and just kind of like wipe it off. And we'll see if these seal. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. If they don't, I'm putting them in the freezer. Okay, so I've got all the lids out of there. So now I'm going to lower the rack back in there with that empty jar. The empty jar can just stay in there. To put the lid on it so I don't have all the steam coming up in the house. Because let's face it, that's hot. Later on, I'll take the lids off. When Derek is here and he can lift these things up from him, put them outside, let them cool, and then again we'll use them to water the plants. Either my name is Heather. Oh, Smethers. I kind of like that though. I like the name Smethers. I don't know why. I was thinking Heather, but with a Smith in front of it. She has been unofficially voted favorite aunt by some of her community members. Oh, thank you for that, Suki. Thank you for that, Suki. Boomers rock. Oh my gosh. Mold, yummy. Well, Duna, you didn't have to redeem points for that. You could have just, that was like a working question. I love hearing that suction noise. I know, so far, that one's sealed, that one's not, that one's not. We have one sealed so far. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's get this out of here. I'll put you there. We have the ladle. I have my all right, so we're gonna bring this up a little bit on temperature. That's like right at the verge of a boil, so I'm not too worried about it. That might be too high. That's good, that's good. That's good. I think this one will be too high. But we'll find out. Again, I'm leaving a 1/2 inch headspace on these. I'm pouring this in slowly because I want it to get into all the nooks and crannies down there. I will still use my little sticky thingy to kind of lift the fruit here and there and make sure that I'm getting all those extra air bubbles out. I'm so happy to hear that music. You know, sometimes it's just the simplest things that can bring us the greatest amount of joy. The air bubble tends to happen real strongly in the half fruits because you have that big air bubble. Remember that big pocket where the pit was? Oop, that one's a little full. I'm glad I made that extra batch of simple syrup. Light syrup, excuse me, not simple syrup, light syrup. Rexus, thank you for that. I didn't know you could do that, by the way. Rexus has to teach me the ways. Teach me your ways, Rexus. Rexus, is there a channel that you don't mod in? Okay, I'm leaving this cook here for a little bit because